OceanGate is the only operation in the world that visits the wreck of the Titanic regularly, and just a few days ago, one of its submarines vanished without a trace. After 4 straight days with massive search efforts from the US and Canadian Coast Guards, the search yielded nothing but banging sounds from underwater. Now that the possibility of survival is over, today we're going to be talking about why it was never really possible to find the Titan sub, and what experts believe caused its disappearance. On the morning of Sunday, June 18th, the sub known as Titan descended from the surface to begin its 10 to 12 hour round-trip journey to view the Titanic. On board were 5 people, including the CEO of OceanGate, the company that runs these expeditions. It takes around 2 hours to reach the wreckage of the Titanic, but 1 hour and 45 minutes into the dive, all communications were lost. This was the last time any signal from the sub was received, and shortly after, OceanGate alerted the Coast Guard. A massive search began. The Titan is equipped with around 96 hours of oxygen for a crew of 5 people, meaning that search parties had 4 days to locate the sub and rescue the people inside. However, this search would yield to be as hard as finding the Titanic for the first time. Just like the search for the Titanic wreckage decades ago, we had a general idea of where it was. And on the surface, that sounds promising, but in the wide open ocean, that's an astronomically large size. The search area was bigger than the size of the state of Connecticut, with depths ranging between 10,000 and 13,000 feet. Now let's put into perspective how much pressure there is at 12,000 feet, the depth of the Titanic. At that depth, there's over 4,000 psi, or pounds per square inch, of pressure at that depth, which is the equivalent of the weight of an SUV being pushed down on every square inch of your body. So obviously, there's a lot that can go wrong. So let's start with what experts believe happened to the sub. There's 3 most likely outcomes that are believed to have happened. The first is that the sub became entangled in the wreckage of the Titanic. This wouldn't be the first time this happened. Around 20 years ago, a sub got swept into the Titanic by a strong current underwater. It was a really scary incident, but all crew members were able to safely make it back to the surface. It's possible that this sub lost communication, making the pilot unfocused and disoriented, where it then got entangled in the wreck. The wreck is said to be extremely difficult to navigate by those who have done it, making this a very possible outcome. A banging sound was heard on 2 different occasions underwater, which could have possibly been the trapped crew banging for help. The Titan is equipped with drop weights to help free it, but if it's inside the wreck, there's absolutely nothing they can do. The second possibility is a power or equipment failure. This could cause total loss of mobility, communication, and heat. If this is the case, it's said that the extreme coldness at these depths could have killed the passengers quicker than the lack of air supply. The third possibility is a leak or implosion. This has become a leading possibility among experts. Back in 2020, a former worker for OceanGate was sued by the company after complaining that the subs were not safe, and they cut corners when creating it. Now, they did reach an out-of-court agreement, so there's nothing more to that story or what they saw wrong with the subs. However, a passenger just a couple of months ago demanded a refund after discovering that the integrity of the material seemed to be in poor shape, and that the sub was operated using a game console controller.
So if you want to go forward, you press forward. If you want to go back, you go back. Turn left, turn right, go down, go up.
It's also noteworthy that the past 3 expeditions had been canceled due to structural worry. A leak could have led to a fire inside, power outages, and most likely an implosion. The smallest crack in the fiberglass surrounding the hull would be catastrophic for crew members. Experts were able to narrow down the reason for the disappearance, but why weren't they able to find it? Finding the sub was literally like finding a needle in a haystack, only this time you have a time limit. Titan is equipped with floating devices to send it to the surface in emergencies, but even then it would be nearly impossible to find with how large the surface area is for rescue. But if this was the case, the crew would still need rescue because the sub can only be opened from the outside. Finding it on the ocean floor is a whole different level of difficult. There are very few, and I mean very few, subs on the planet that can dive down to 10,000 feet and beyond. A typical United States submarine has limits of around 1,500 or 2,000 feet to put it into perspective. The best case scenario for a search would be that they're stuck inside the Titanic. However, sonar wouldn't be able to pick them up amongst the wreckage, and there's a very limited amount of subs to send down. As for the banging sounds I mentioned earlier in the video, the Coast Guard says they weren't able to identify where they were coming from, and say it could have been any common ocean noise. However, they were said to come every 30 minutes in some kind of a pattern, making it likely that they were from the lost sub, but this will just have to remain a mystery. With all of the manpower, technology, and hope, the rescue of the passengers resulted in nothing. The deep ocean is like going to deep space. It's incredibly dangerous, no matter how technologically advanced we are. Unless the wreckage is found sometime in the future, it will always be a mystery what happened to the Titan. Is it stuck inside the Titanic? Did it implode on the way down? Or were they able to make it back up to the surface but never got found? It's now one of the deep ocean's greatest mysteries. Okay guys, now this is a really heavy and sensitive topic, so make sure to let me know what you think happened in the comment section down below and what your thoughts are on the whole situation. But that is going to wrap up today's video, but before you go, make sure to smash that like button, and most importantly subscribe with notifications turned on so you never miss out on awesome videos just like this one. I'm Ray Tiller, and I'll see you on the next video.